video is going to be about the quadratic formula and using it to solve quadratic equations. So up here we have the quadratic formula under the title. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c divided by 2 times a. So this can look a little daunting, I know right now, but it'll become more clear when we have the question, when we sort the question out. So here we have the question. It's on page 71 of the 5th NYP maths book. So the question, x squared minus 5x plus 4, minus 4. So with a quadratic equation, you always want to make it equal to 0. That's just always the first step. So that's normally the first step, not always the first step. It's normally the first step. For this, it is the first step. So what we want to do is, the easiest way to do it looks like just to be the minus x squared from both sides. But having a negative x squared is really a massive pain. So we generally just don't do it. It's just not a thing that is done. So if you can, always keep your x squared positive. So the first step here is actually to minus 5x from both sides. Leaves you with x squared minus 5x minus 5x equals negative 4. Next step, add 4. When you're getting things on there on side, you always want to make sure that the operation that you're doing on top is always the opposite of what's going down at the bottom. So if it's negative 4 at the bottom, you want to add 4 at the top. And if it's positive 4 at the bottom, you minus 4 at the top. Just whatever you do to cancel out this one. So adding 4 cancels out the negative 4 and then leaves it on this side. So that will give you x squared minus 5x plus 4 equals 0. So there you've got your nice quadratic equation. It's equal to 0, or friendly. So if we go back to the quadratic formula, as you can see in it, we have 3 unknowns off the x. We have a, b, and c, right? So we don't know what they're equal to for now, right? So I'm about to tell you. So in a quadratic equation, you have an x squared. You have an x squared. You have a number on a coefficient of x, and then you have a number on its own. Always, that's the way it's laid out. So the number on the x squared, in this case, is 1. Just don't write it. It's like a ghost 1. So that's always equal to a, right? So you can write it up here. It like sorts it out nicely. So a equals 1. B is always the number that has the coefficient of x. So it could be 1. In that case, it would just be x on its own, or it could be like a million. Doesn't really matter. So in this case, it's negative 5. C is a number with nothing on it, number on its own. The lone man. So, or woman. So you have A, B, and C. So we put it back into the formula. X equals negative B, but the B is already negative. So if you have a negative number on the coefficient of x, in the quadratic formula, in the place of negative b, you put the same number except it's positive. So here we have negative 5 is b, right? B equals negative 5. So negative b would equal positive 5. Each negatives makes a positive. So plus or minus square root of, so you need to write, if you square any number, it'll become positive, whether it's negative or positive. But you can't really square a negative number like straight up, so you have to put it in brackets. So open bracket negative 5, close bracket squared. Otherwise you'll get marked down for notation. So you always have to do that. Minus 4 times a is 1, times c. We know what c is, 4. So that's over 2 times a, which is 1. So there we have all our numbers in the quadratic formula. Okay, so next step is we can just start solving stuff. So we can't do anything with the positive 5 right now. It kind of just sits there till the end. Square root, so as I said, negative 5, it's always going to become positive, so you might as well just think of it as 5 times 5, which is 25. And then minus 4 times 1 is 4. and 4 times, negative 4 times positive 4 is negative 16, so we have minus 16. Over 2 times 1, 2. Next, we just solve whatever's left in the square root. 25 minus 16, it's 9. Just put it in the calculator. Over 2. I only know that because I tried to do this video like 4 times already. Alright. Next, because 9 has a nice square root, we can just get rid of the square root. Square root of 9, 3, over 2. Okay, so the plus and minus in the quadratic formula, is just representation of 2 answers. So in a quadratic equation, doesn't matter how you solve it, you're always going to get 1 or 2. Like normally you'll get 2 answers. So we have to do this equation twice, plus and minus. So the first possible answer that we have is x equals 5 plus 3 over 2. That'll give us x equals 4. Our second possible answer is that x equals 5 minus 3 over 2. And that'll give us 1. And that's the next value of 1. So those are your answers. It's possible to check by plugging these values back into the equation that we arranged in the start, back into the x squared minus 5x plus 4. The way you can check is if you plug it in, you can check whether or not it's equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, then you've done something wrong. But you can be pretty confident. It's pretty late. It's like, I think it's nicely laid out. I don't know. It's possible. It's always possible to make mistakes, and you can check if you don't feel comfortable. But generally, it's quite easy to get through this, just as long as you check all these steps. We can check for this video though. So if we have x equals 4, then we have 4 squared minus 5 times 4 plus 4. So 4 squared, 4 times 4, 16 minus 20 plus 4. 16 minus 20 is negative 4 plus 4 is 0, so that's good. So if we take x as 1, then we have 1 squared minus 5 times 1 plus 4 equals 0. So 1 squared is 1, minus 5 times 1 is 1, plus 4. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4 plus 4 is 0. So that's also good. So we know these answers are correct. So just a little side note. When you set up if you have this, you can be missing any one of the, not anyone. You can be missing the number on the end. So you could not have the plus 4, basically, and it could still work. You just take C as 1. If you just have C as 1, because C can be plus 1, it can still be there. But if it's not there, you just take it as 1.